No. Hello, my little villains. Welcome back to Hit or Quit. We are back again to recap House of Villains, episode 5. And I'm so excited because I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Chappell. Chappell, how are you?
Jenny, I'm good. I always feel like I'm very at home here at this podcast. I don't
You
know.
belong here.
I've always been a villain, even as nice as I am and as fun loving as I am, I have this resting chaotic energy that just gives Slytherin. It's just a very villainous
Listen,
energy I have.
you to me, so you know how some people in their phone you put their name in their contact is like an emoji or has like an emoji
Yeah.
with it. Like if I were to do that, I don't do that with my contacts. If I were to do that, you would be the purple devil emoji, but the one that's smiling, like the one that's
Yeah.
like a little like devious, a little saucy.
Right.
So I agree. This does feel perfect for you. And I'm like, again, this is a dream come true to be able to podcast what I think is like one of the most amazing reality TV shows that has ever existed. Like this show is incredible.
It really is.
I have not cooled down on this show whatsoever. Every episode has been entertaining from front to back. And so this is home for me too. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm a villain. Like I am like
No.
kind of giving like the red lips, like a little devious, like the
Yes.
nails, like I could cut you with these. They're not like that aggressive, but like it does feel right. We are both very chaotic.
It's correct. I think this was a pair that was supposed to happen. I do miss Rob, but because he's
I
not
miss
here
him
to hold
too,
it down,
but
he's
yeah.
not villainous enough. Rob's he's a hero,
Yeah.
But I think
Mhm.
we add a little edge to it. I'm so happy that you said it was a purple devil emoji because I didn't know where you were going with that at first. I said, "Oh my,
Oh, the
Jenny,
purple. You thought I
the,
was gonna say
the
the
purple heart."
eggplant.
I said heart, Jenny Heart. Oh my God! Wow, that's
Oh, I
incredible,
thought that
Jenny.
was
Why
what
would
you
you think that?
thought.
I said the purple heart emoji.
I'm gonna get
Wow.
myself in trouble here. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
are. You said it, not me. Oh my God. Zip that's the only
I
purple
said what
emoji.
I thought you were gonna say.
No, you said what you said, and I said what I said, and those two things were not the
Listen.
same. Listen, it's okay. You're right though.
What's wrong? What's
I'm
wrong with the purple?
right. Well,
You
I
thought
honestly, what? I thought
you
you know
thought
the
the
purple
purple
heart
heart was
emoji.
bad?
No, I thought that's where you were going when you said that. I thought you were
Oh.
about to say, "Oh, you're not a villain. The purple heart is what
No,
you know."
that's
But then you said the
boring.
purple villain, the purple devil with the smile. And then you said the purple eggplant. Denny, I just don't know.
When you said I was worried, I thought you were going to say something like that was bad to be associated with. And like the purple heart is not bad. I think it's just basic, which like I would
Well,
never do to you.
yeah, I just thought because I was saying I was a villain that we obviously were gonna go with
Oh.
something, I thought you were gonna
No.
be like, "No, Chappelle, you're not a villain. It's the purple
Well,
heart."
my brain goes to what other emoji is purple?
I thought the heart was
It's
purple.
eggplant.
Sure,
Well,
that's the second in
okay, but
line.
there are several hearts of different colors. The eggplant specifically is purple.
That is true. I just really thought when you said purple, we thought we were going with the heart, but okay. Uh, Eggplant's fine.
And that's why
Jenny,
I'm here.
and that's why you're here. Exactly.
Yeah.
Some of us are villains on the outside. Some of us just exude villainy, in different ways. And I think that's probably a theme in this episode as well, right? Because we have some
Yeah.
very obvious, iconic villains, and then we have people who you think at first glance like, do they really stack up? And in this episode, people like Shake kind of remind you like why they ended up on this show
Yes.
exactly and how they got here.
It's Shake's coming out party in this
Mhm.
episode where he, basically, he's like somewhat proud of the fact that he's like I've made it to the big villain leagues, but more so just out of results. It's like I don't think that he was ready for this, and then it just kind
Mhm.
of he got thrust into the situation where his back is against the wall and he's like, all right, time to dig my heels in and be the true villain. But I thought this was a very fun episode. I love that we're starting to get a little bit, because here's the thing, we've been kind of talking about how Shake is like he does not know what he's doing here. He is not ready for these people. And this is Shake's origin story, at least for
Yes.
particular television show. Obviously, like he's been doing and saying things before to get him cast on the show, but I think that like in this episode he finally embodied like the reason for why he's here. And again, the meta of it all where he's kind of like acknowledging like, oh, I finally understand why I'm on this cast. Like I've seen another part of me. I love that we're still getting a lot of this commentary about like the reason that they were cast on this show. That is very fun to me. How do you feel about this whole like this episode is very shake heavy.
Shake heavy. Like
Yeah,
shake down.
yeah. We're
Yeah.
shaking and baking.
We are. I think that Shake did a really good job of hiding who he was in this show so far. I think Shake has
Yeah.
been very much like, okay, I'm a little bit in over my head. I don't really know the people. I'm just gonna lay low as long as I can. But eventually that true Shakeness just comes out, because we even saw that in Love is Blind. In his first season, Shake was annoying about the things that he was saying, like, oh, can I lift you up on the beach? Can I carry you on my back? Or you
Really
kind of
with whether he can carry people.
right, really obsessed with how big these women are. And then like the really like I don't date people who are like brown people like me because I'm only into blonde chicks and all those stuff. It was a whole thing, right? Where it was just like little annoying tiny things that just kind of needle at you. And then by the finale, he's full blown Shake, right? He's like
Like
at the reunion
microdosing
show.
misogyny, like, and
Yeah.
then you just get like a full hit.
And he was rubbing a little bit on his gums, and now it's just right up the nostrils. And so now Shake, wait, that's a metaphor, right? Anyway,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It
that's
is.
a comment. We say that all the time.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it
it's just
happened.
a little bump of misogyny. And so he's doing that on the finale, and he's just going hardcore. And everyone's like, Shake, you suck. And so that's the moment. The finale is what got him cast on this show. And I think he did the same thing here. The first couple episodes, he's laying low. But then in this episode, he calls this standing up for himself. But at no point was Shake under attack. There was no point.
At all.
He literally started the fight and then said, I feel so much better now that I'm being myself. Yes, that's the key. You are now standing in your villainy and you kind of like it. And so it was fun to watch.
He's acting like he was on the defensive when truly he was on, if anything, he was on the defensive of his own actions.
Yes.
Because, he was sloppy and it caught up to him and people were rightfully like calling him out and getting pissed off at him, and his reaction to it is like acting like he's some sort of like victim and has to stand up for himself. But it's like, you created this problem for yourself, so you're not like you're defending yourself against past Shake. Past Shake was a dick to future Shake, and now you're having to deal with that.
Exactly. He
It
even
was
said,
beautiful.
he said, I feel a lot better about myself now that I've said these things. It's like, really? Now you feel
Yeah.
great about yourself? You're calling people brainwashed pawns and all kinds of stuff, lying on people, calling people dumb, and you're like, yeah, like at least I stood up for myself. He said, for better or for worse, probably for worse, but just let me have that. Just let me have it anyway. I was like, Shake has gotten to the point where he's like, I'm back to the Shake that I was at that finale. I don't care if y'all like me or not. And this is just me. So trying to play the game, trying to get in where he fit in, it's not his strength. His strength is being a jerk face here in this episode, and like, I don't know Shake in real life, so maybe he's not like that when he's not on TV,
Right.
but every time we've seen him step into his villainy, he feels really comfortable.
Yeah, so that was something I wanted to talk about because I wanted to get your take on. I love when we can get a little meta about it because that's what this show does. Like, how much of this do you feel like is camera Shake? Because like with the Love is Blind stuff, do you feel like once seeing kind of like how he was received and portrayed or whatever, like that he kind of leans into that character because he knows that that's what is like, that's what people are expecting, or that's what plays well on TV. And like, is he watching what's happening in this house and seeing people like New York who, like, didn't care so much about the game that she like diluted who she is as a person and as a character on TV? And is he kind of like getting the sense of like, okay, I'm in a bad position in this game, so what the hell am I doing? I'm not going to go out with a whimper. I'm going to lean into this douchebag version of myself that I have been on TV, that is the reason they cast me in the first place, and I'm going to be more of this person if it's going to be my last couple of episodes on the show.
Oh no, I don't think that's it at all, Jenny. I really think
You
that
think it's just
what it is.
him?
No, I think that when presented with adversity,
Yeah.
Shake defaults to villain Shake. And so when you watch Love is
Okay.
Blind, people were not, he was not well received, but he was not hated. I would say that Shake was probably like annoying. And people were really rooting for Deepti, but I don't think that he
Mhm.
was like despised, right? But because he feels that tension in the air, like people don't like me, instead of coming into the reunion show with a shield up, he comes in with a bazooka. And so I think
Right.
the same thing happens here. He votes for Anfisa.
Mhm.
Anfisa obviously is going to try to figure out who voted for her. And so the first chance he gets, he brings out the bazooka. He's like, oh, it wasn't me. It was Corinne. And not only was it Corinne, but it was Corinne because she's jealous. And then and it was Corinne because he's jealous because she likes Johnny Bananas and she can't put the game aside. She's so emotional. It was Corinne. So then that happens. That's like he brings out the little gun. And then
Mhm.
later on, it comes back up again. And they're like, hey, everyone's trying to get me out. They're ganging up on me, but I think I won this competition. All of y'all suck. I'm the winner. It's your ass. I'm about to take you out. The bazooka's out. And then it turns out he didn't win the competition, but instead of putting the bazooka away and grabbing the shield, he brings out the bigger bazooka. He brings out the cannon. And he's like, no, y'all suck. You're brainwashed. You're a child. You're this, that, and the other. And then he gets confronted. Well, then he tries to like dial it back. He says, okay, this
Yeah.
isn't working. Let me go and explain my reasoning. And when they're not taking his explanation, he brings the bazooka back. And he's like, boom, boom, boom. I hate you. You're boring. I don't like you. Da, 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 da. Like every time Shake tries to defend himself, he does not go on the defense. He just tries a bigger offense than what was already, that he thinks is coming toward him. Because a lot of time he's throwing the first punch.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So the other thing I think is playing into this is that like this man has no riz, okay? Like
Mm.
he has no ability, and I don't mean like romantic like level riz, like just in general in terms of like persuading people, or like he just does not have the juice. And when he tries to scale back, he does such a terrible job of trying to like apologize or explain himself that people understandably react in a certain way, being like, well, da da da, and then he's like, and he backs himself up, and then like you said, he brings out the bazooka or the cannon because he's like, he does not know how to react when he's faced with like adversity, or like when he expects a conversation to go a
Yes.
certain way and it doesn't, he like goes nuclear. Like he's just
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, I'm just going like, and
I'm gonna
so
just be a
yeah,
jerk.
there must be a true part of him, because the fact that he's saying he's felt more like himself since all of this happened. But then that also contrasts with points in this episode where he's saying like, when he's talking about what happened at the challenge, where a side of him came out that he, doesn't like, or that he doesn't see very often. It's like, well, what is the story here? Is this who you truly are and you just don't like this person? Like, are we trying to change this, or are we trying to lean into this because this is what is wanted here in this environment? Like, this man needs therapy first and foremost. But that's
Don't
not
we
what we're
all?
doing here.
Right.
That's not what this show is. So fine. But like, does he want to be this person
Yes. Yes, he does. That's what I'm
if
saying.
it makes
You
money?
no, this is Shake. Shake,
Yeah.
that's what he says. I feel more like myself than I have felt this whole time because he's not
Mhm.
had a chance to unleash like that.
Yeah.
Partly because he thought Jax was going to kill him. But now that he is, but now that
But
he's unleashing,
women are perfect. Like, that's the thing, is like, he
there
would
was a moment.
love to get
Yeah.
into it with Corinne.
There was a moment where he started to aim at Corinne, and Bobby says, "Hey, hey, over here, talk to me." And that's when it's kind of like, "Whoa, what's happening here?" So I think,
Mhm.
if anything, Shake really needs to look at that moment and think, "Why was I so ready to talk crazy to Corinne when Bobby was right there targeting me just like everybody else was?" But
Yeah, there
to
is
your point
something
of
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
to your point though about Shake saying, like, this isn't like me, like that I saw a side of me that I didn't like. That was Shake's version of an apology. Because what we do see is that Shake does not apologize for anything he did in this episode. When he
Mhm.
goes to Anfisa, he goes to her to explain his thought process. And he goes, when New York was about to get voted out, I voted to save her. Then I realized that you were not, well, he goes to Corinne first. He said, then I realized that Anfisa was not going to be happy with me and I needed to pin it on somebody. And Corinne goes, so you just pinned it on me? And he's like, yes, that's exactly what I did. But he does not say, and I feel bad for that, or
Yeah.
I wish I didn't do that. He's saying, I just want you to know where I'm coming from. Next thing you know, house meeting. You got Anfisa there, Omarosa there, Johnny Bananas is in the room. Bobby walks in and
Everyone's
Shake sits
yeah, everyone's there.
and Shake sits there and he says the same thing. He says, okay. And Fisa comes in. She's looking for who voted for her. And she says, Bobby, everybody get a toast except for Bobby and whoever the shady person is who voted for me. And in that moment, Shake says, and I knew I couldn't own up to it. So I pinned it on Corinne. She's like, because I'm your pawn. He's like, yes, you're a dumb pawn. You're the best pawn ever. And it makes sense for me. But that is not an apology, Shake. That is
No.
you now lashing out and trying to explain. You want everybody to go, okay, we get it, Shake. Never mind. We're not mad at you. No, Shake. Say I'm sorry. Pretend that you feel
Zero
bad.
bedside manner. Like not even
Exactly.
trying to show any remorse for how he handled
No.
things. It's more so like, well, let me give you my logical explanation for why I did the
Right.
things I did with no like not even a sprinkle of like emotional awareness of like how that could impact things and like any sort of remorse whatsoever is completely absent in anything he's saying. And it's fine that he doesn't if he doesn't even feel sorry about how like what he did. You need to at least say that. Just
Yes. Fake it.
it's not so much that I wanted you out. I was told, like, you can do so many things in this situation. You can say,
Yeah.
I was under the impression that New York had the votes. I
Mm-hmm.
played dumb. Like I was dumb. I thought that New York had the votes and I was voting with the House. That's on me. I'm sorry. I'm still happy you were here. And like, hello, it's so
No.
freaking easy. But like for him, he has no ability to, for whatever reason, for someone who in confessional is kind of like self deprecating at times,
Mm-hmm.
he lacks this ability in confrontation to like harness that energy and kind of be like, I messed up, like, and just say that and just be like,
Yeah.
I am sorry. Like, it's so simple, but for whatever reason, there's some sort of blockade in his psyche that keeps him from like just being a normal human and taking ownership for things without like just like explaining the reasoning, and then when people don't feel like that's enough being like, well, you're an idiot and
Yeah. You're dumb. You're brainless pawn.
yeah,
And then at that point, oh, we get full blown Shake. Remember when they're sitting by when they're in the jacuzzi and Shake's
yes.
watching Corinne and Johnny Bananas, and instead of saying nothing, instead of just saying nothing, he's like, "You look so thirsty right now. Do you understand how embarrassing you are? No wonder why you lost the Bachelorette. I mean, the Bachelor."
Now
What?
this was a wild scene, and to be fair, I wouldn't want to sit and watch Corinne give Bananas a foot massage in the hot tub myself, but like, was he a little sauced? Because there was a bottle of some sort of liquor sitting next to Bananas in the hot tub. It was daylight. The sun was out. I don't know. Listen, I don't know when this was filmed. I assume it was like a cooler season because everyone's complaining about it being cold. Um, but like he thanks them at the end. He's like, thanks for the libations or whatever. But he like comes down, like, is he lightweight? Like, did he have like one like scotch and he's like, You look so thirsty right now. Like,
Yeah.
and like that part of him comes out. Like,
That's very kind to Shake to say that maybe alcohol was involved, which is, I mean, it's valid. It is valid because you have to know these people are drinking constantly, right? There's no way
yeah.
you have
Oh,
these
yeah.
villains in the house and you're just gonna let them sit around and be boring. You're
Which
gonna
is
want to
kind of
get
why
them
this show is fun because it's
right.
like, like let it be messy, you know?
Let them lose their inhibitions a little bit. So yeah, it would be
Mhm.
kind to Shake to assume that he did drink a little bit. But like maybe he's sauced. Maybe he's like really drunk. Who knows? I look daytime
I
when the
don't know what
sun is
they're
up.
doing.
Those are my favorite drinking hours. If
Yeah.
I can see the sun
Because then you can still
outside,
get a
this
good
is
night's sleep.
you could get a sleep, you could take a nap and then wake up in the nighttime and still get stuff done, watch a little TV,
It's a
go back
second
out if you
day.
need to. It really is. You cannot get drunk all day if you don't start in the morning. I live by that.
Mhm.
It's tattooed on
Mhm.
my ass. And so yeah, I think that I feel like it's in Latin on my booty, so
Let's
I'm
see
just saying.
it. Show the people.
I gotta do it. No, I'm
We're
joking.
not we're not trying to get the YouTube shut down.
It would not be the first time I have stripped on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube. But yes, I think that maybe that's what gave it to him. But again, this is the Shake that is like the Shake that was promised, right? The Shake that is a
Yeah.
villain is the one who's going
Yeah.
to say that thing. He's not going to be able to sit there and just be quiet about it. He's like, nah, I don't like Corinne. She doesn't like me. And I think she looks thirsty. So I'm about to say it. But it's the lack of apology that comes with it that makes people, okay, well, what yeah, we're going to target you. And even when you say stuff like, y'all might not like me very much and I don't care. Cool. Because this is definitely a game about getting votes to stay in the house. And if people don't like you, it's going to be hard to do that. So if that's the route you want to go, good luck. More power to you.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk to that point because obviously we're going to get to the end of this episode where Shake is going to be one of the 3 people on the hit list here. And I wonder, you know, are we getting to a point where being like the house pariah, not pepperia, but like where being that person can actually start being a benefit to you? Because I thought that that was what we were going to see last week with New York, where she was definitely starting to piss a lot of people off and making more enemies than just Bananas who put her there. And I thought, like, these people are going to say, if this person is like a lightning rod here, that's good for me. And this is what we see at the beginning of this episode with Bananas talking about Shake, being like, everyone
Mhm.
hates Shake. This is a person I need to keep around and, in fact, put into power because it's going to only put more heat on him and take that heat off of me so I can kind of slink back to the shadows. At
Mhm.
what point is someone like Shake actually going to be in a better position to stay because of how much of a disaster mess they've become and how no one F's with them, to the point where people like Tanisha and Corinne, who end up being on the hit list beside him at the end of this episode, are the more dangerous people in the game and ultimately get taken out because they are in a better social position. Like,
Mhm.
because I thought that we were going to get that with New York, where people were going to recognize like Anfisa is more dangerous to my game because she's quiet, she's good with most people, and isn't like, but what is she doing? Like, who is she working with truly? Whereas like New York is New York.
Mhm.
You take it or leave it. And maybe to the detriment where people just felt like she was too much of a loose cannon, that like even people that were working with her felt like they couldn't rely on her. But like Shake is kind of a little bit more controlled, but pretty much universally disliked in the house at this point. So do you
Mhm.
feel like we are reaching a point in the game here where Shake is actually the more drama and problems he causes with people, the more likely he is to actually survive this vote?
Well, that's interesting 'cause I thought about that as well. Because I was thinking, yeah, of course, Bananas wants to keep Shake around because if Shake gets in power, he's not going to target Bananas. But then when someone can target Shake, they will. And that's
Yeah.
cool. But I think that the format of this game, as we find out when we watch Omarosa use her oranges to explain them to Tanisha, is that
The
there are
new gummy
3
bears.
people. Yeah, there are 3 people up on the block every week. So there's not a lot of places to hide. So yeah,
Yeah.
this might work for Shake for this round and maybe even the next round. But the point of diminishing returns is approaching very quickly to where we're running out of spots. They're running out of people to put up there. And so if you're not putting up Shake, who are you putting up that's not going to come down and also potentially target you the next week. So it seems like in theory, if the cast was bigger, you'd have more room to do something like that. But at this point in the game, like I think you're right. The New York moment was probably the time to keep somebody around for something like that.
Yeah.
But now Shake's on the block. If Shake comes down and Shake doesn't win the next round,
He's
what combination of
probably,
people is
yeah.
not putting him back up anyway, just because there's a lack of choices,
Right,
it
but people could still be putting him up, but he could avoid being, he could be like a backup target if the person
Mhm.
you really want to go out, whether you're going to start targeting like social players like Bobby Lights or Tanisha, or even, I mean, we see Corinne getting put up here, I guess, as a pawn. Apparently she's an incredible pawn. You know, if those people end up saving themselves, you're maybe the default target. But like, could we see, you know, Shake just become like a, you know, the
A block
equivalent of a
star.
block star, exactly,
Yeah.
where, you know, he's like, we can lose him if we have to, but he's kind of just there as a placeholder, as a backup plan if the person we ultimately want to go wins the whatever the hell, the banishment challenge or whatever it's called.
Yeah, he could stick around for a while if you are. I mean, because like if you have Shake versus Johnny Bananas up there, you might say, okay, well, when am I going to get a chance to get Johnny Bananas out? Like, I really
Right.
want to get him out because he could come after me. But at the same time, it's like, but is Shake benefiting anybody's game except Johnny Bananas? At some point,
Mm-hmm.
he's just an option that. Why would you let him stick around? And even when you have a working relationship with other people, like Tanisha, for example, she knows that Johnny Bananas is not going to put her up. So there's no point in her voting out Johnny Bananas at any point.
Right.
And Fisa is never going to put up New York. I mean, not New York, Omarosa.
Yeah.
So that's a person that you should never vote out. Shake could put up anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He has no
Especially
loyalty to
now.
anybody, especially now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Johnny Bananas did go out on a limb to save him. So
Yeah.
maybe he's the safest if Shake wins it and gets in power, but that's still not guaranteed. So I think that Shake could buy himself some time just being such an obvious, like, okay, we can get him later. Who's not going to vote out Shake? But it's still not. I don't think the cast is big enough for there to be 3 people nominated, because even
Mhm.
in this episode, Omarosa says, "Well, what if I just nominate all the boys?" And she looks up and Shake, and it's Bobby, and it's Bananas, and then the 4th option is Fair Play. And you're like,
Mhm.
wait, so that means Fair Play could potentially go up if Omarosa doesn't want to burn Bobby. And she's
Yeah.
known Fair Play for 20 years. So, there's not a lot of wiggle room here. You kind of have to make your bed, lie in it, and hope that your target goes, and then pray that you are not the next one out of power the following week.
Well, this is where I feel like Shake really screwed up because, you know, obviously he realizes that like he screwed up. Most people are against him, but the way that he like unraveled from there and really went off at Corinne specifically, he kind of in turn loses any chance for support from someone like Bananas, who does actually, like, we see it happen in this exact episode that, hate him or love him, like, this guy does know what he's doing when it comes to making deals and like the social strategic element of a game like this with what he does with
Mhm.
Omarosa here. So I think that, like, this episode started with Bananas literally trying to make sure that Shake wins this challenge, and he literally would have won this challenge if it weren't for his egotistical dumb ass freaking out, telling everyone that they're cooked when he hadn't even opened the damn chest, which was the last thing he needed to do, and then Omarosa sneaks in here. But I think when he goes off on Corinne, that's the moment where he loses any chance of support from Bananas, where he's like,
Yeah.
you are beyond help at this point, and
Mhm.
it is going to be a detriment to my own game if I am trying to protect you at this point. Like, at least wait until the competition has happened and we determine the final 2 people on the hit list. Like, my
Yeah.
guy, you could still win this and be in an okay position. What are you doing blowing the whole shit up when we're not even in a situation? You might be fine. Like, just win and then see what happens.
Yeah, Bananas went out on a limb, very
Mhm.
publicly helped Shake,
Yes.
like very publicly helped him. And he did everything he needed to do. Johnny Bananas did everything right in this episode,
Yes.
only for Shake to not open the damn box. You hear Joe McHale saying,
Stupid.
open the box, open the box, make sure you open the box. He says it twice, and Shake
Yes.
doesn't open the box. And then immediately Omarosa opens the box, and Shake says, run the tape back. I'm sorry, you never said that. It's like, sir,
You said
even
the first person to open the lock.
yeah, it's
Mm.
like, and even then, Shake was so busy showboating that
Yeah.
you have Joe McHale, the host, going, Shake, open the box. And he just won't do it. So it's like, if I'm
Ugh.
Bananas, I'm like, yeah, you are a lost cause. I just handed you the competition and you
And you
gave it
couldn't
away.
do it. Yeah.
And now I
Yeah.
look bad for trying to help you because Omarosa later on will come to Johnny Bananas and say, Johnny, I thought we were good. I didn't put you up when I had a chance the first time. You didn't put me up. But what is this you helping Shake win when I'm trying to win the competition? What's going on? And Bananas like, yeah, you got me there. I was definitely trying to help Shake. Like he tries to lie about it a little bit, but
I
eventually he
felt
lands
like
on,
I felt like he handled this pretty well. And maybe I
yes.
don't know because
No, it
he
was
his
good.
explanation did make sense because he was like, my objective was to stop Bobby because obviously like I am concerned about Bobby winning. That's who I
Mhm.
am going after here. And he escaped that last week. So I and Shake was beside me. So I'm putting all of my locks on Bobby and I'm just trying to help whoever can be Bobby, and Shake just
Mhm.
happened to be beside him. Like that helped him. And then he also says, I looked at you and saw that you were doing well, and I thought I'm good with Omarosa, so I don't have to
Yes.
worry about that. Um, so I felt like that was a pretty good job of explaining why he was
Mhm.
helping
Mhm.
Shake, all things considered. Um, and I mean, ultimately, I don't necessarily think that this is the argument that helped keep him out of the hit list, but he clearly does make the right points to Omarosa here about how, the important thing is for the people like them that are big targets working together and keep not going after each other, not letting, you know, these like floaters or whatever use them to target each other and like floating past each other. Like he still does a good job here. Because that could have been really bad for him. Openly helping the person in the house that everyone else wants out. And at least he had like a good enough rationale for why he was doing what he was doing there.
Yeah, and Banana tells Omarosa even, hey, I know you could be inclined to come after me, but for some reason, if you don't get me out, I can't go against other people. Like right now, you don't have any blood on your hands when it comes to me. And if I get power, I have no choice but to put you up. Like there's no
Yeah.
working together moving next round because what am I going to do? Turn on Corinne? Like a Tanisha, who I'm clearly
Mhm.
working with those women. I could put up Anfisa, but me and her seemingly are good. Like I I don't want to have to target you, Omarosa, but if you put me up, I have no choice but to use all my energy against you. And that seems to be good enough to make Omarosa go, okay, maybe not. But I do appreciate Omarosa going and trying to gather the women's alliance that we know Jenny famously always work
Always.
every time.
Classic success, when it happens, it's guaranteed to work.
Yes, exactly. And then when in that moment I thought we got a little something going on here. But when she goes on the little luxury competition to the
Yeah.
sushi spot
Yeah.
with Fair Play and Anfisa, she's like, Fair Play, what would you think if you went up on the block? And Johnny Fairplay is beside him. So he's like, I've known you for 20 years. And you're really gonna put me up on the block before some of these extras, these new people? Absolutely not.
Yeah. This was, you know, and I knew that there was going to be some sort of like building of the storyline between Fair Play and Omarosa because, they do a good job producing this show and like in the previously on or whatever at the beginning of the episode, we're seeing the conversation between Omarosa and Fair Play and how like people don't even realize that we're working together and like all of that. Um, but wow, I feel like serious misstep from Omarosa here. Even uttering the possibility of
Mhm.
putting up Fair Play, especially because it wasn't a one-on-one conversation and Anfisa was present as well. Um, because if the argument here was that I need to put strong guys up against Shake to ensure that he doesn't win and take himself down, I just don't understand how her proposed option there wasn't Bananas and Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby, the guy who was up for banishment last week and won the challenge and brought himself down. Like, the person that, you're not clearly working with, like, you voted different ways last week. I just
Mhm.
don't understand. She could have kept her word if this is what she was going to do. She obviously,
Mhm.
this doesn't end up being her path here, but if she was just trying to, do what the house wanted, try to get out Shake here, it would have been so much easier to just say, I'll put up Bananas and Bobby next to Shake. Those two have a way better chance of winning and bringing themselves down. The house takes out Shake. The fact that
Yeah.
she brought fair play into it, and she even acknowledges it in this episode where it's like, I am aware of what fair play is capable of in these games, and I need to work with him because if I'm not, he's coming for me.
Yeah.
Why then are you putting his name out there? Because we literally see him in a confessional after this happens being like, thanks for the sushi, go F yourself. Like, this is enough for him to be like, okay, I guess we weren't as cool as I thought. And she potentially lost him in this moment. Like, is he going to forget about this?
If I'm Johnny Fairplay, I have an understood final two with Omarosa. Like,
Mhm.
you might not even he might not even plan on going through with it. But in my mind, between the two of them, they look at each other and they say, "We're the big dogs.
Yeah.
You're not coming for me. I'm not coming for you. No worries. If it comes to that, fine. But right now we're good. We're Gucci." And every episode, we see them high fiving and being like, "No one's even mentioning our names. Look at us."
Yeah.
And so for her to even utter this, if I'm Johnny Fairplay, I'm thinking, oh, that's the game we're playing. Like, you want to protect Bobby that bad to where I gotta be the option to go up with Bananas against Shake? Me. Johnny Fairplay is probably like in decent shape, but I don't think like he's ever been known to be a competition beast in any
Exactly.
like in any
He's, like,
fashion of like
cerebral, like, he's a
right.
strategic guy, but
Yes.
it's not like he's necessarily, like, but again, also these challenges aren't necessarily physical, and again, I will let you finish. These challenges are such equalizers, like,
Mhm.
please, Big Brother and other shows take note, like, this challenge, I loved this challenge this week, but anyway, you're right, that's not necessarily what he's known for.
Right, exactly. And so because he's not really known for that, I have to assume that like, okay, he's not really a challenge guy all the time. So maybe, picking people that are more expendable, people who do shows about challenges. Maybe someone who does a show called The
Called the
Challenge.
challenge.
Maybe maybe that person would be somebody to go up against or to go up against Shake, or even Bobby, like it just felt like a misstep, and I'd have to
Yeah.
think that the Johnny Fairplay we know is not going to let her get away with that. He's going to be on watch for Omarosa soon.
And especially because, like, there are enough people still there that fair play is going to start doing the math and figuring out what the hierarchy might be. Like, obviously Omarosa is close enough to Anfisa. She brought her on the reward as well. And he's paying attention to who she is protecting by not putting their name out there to put up. And I just think that, like, whether she was going to go through it or not, she shouldn't have been doing the temperature check with fair play
Mhm.
like that in that moment. And she should have been like, should I be doing, like, she can even say, like, I don't necessarily want Bobby to go, but, like, does it make sense to do Bananas and Bobby because they have the best chance of beating Shake? And if fair play feels strongly about it and wants to volunteer himself, of course he wouldn't, but, like,
Right.
I don't know, I just felt like this was a messy from Omarosa, and she obviously knows how fair play is, and I think she just, like, didn't anticipate how much that would throw him off.
Yeah.
And this will become a thing again, I think.
Right, right. And I like the format of this show being that it's called House of Villains because I think it gives people carte blanche to kind of be a little messy, to do
Mhm.
things that we would be ill advised to do in a normal game of social strategy, right? So we see
Of
that there's
course.
a moment where Shake makes the mistake of going to Bobby and saying, Bobby, it was me. I was the one who voted out Anfisa. And Bobby is in the confessional saying, okay, but I'm a villain, so
Don't trust me.
I don't trust me, right? And
Yeah.
it kind of gives them that like I'm a villain, so I can do this kind of thing. And because even when we see, all the moves that Bananas pulled last week, where he's like, I got the fake letter and I'm about to put up Corinne, but it's not Corinne, it's this person, it's New York, da 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 da. Like he does all of that stuff. And then in this episode, we see Omarosa in the oranges, and she's telling all the women they're safe, but
Yeah.
only to get up there and put two women on the block.
2.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so I think that calling them villains allows people to do something like this, allows Johnny Fairplay to hear Omarosa and go, okay, cool, I'm about to backstab you. Or to hear let
Yeah.
Omarosa come to Johnny Fairplay and say, just a baller move is, yeah, what if I put you up? And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, what if I put you up? Like in a normal situation, that's ill-advised. Even in this situation, ill-advised. But since it's House of Villains, like, man, isn't that a villainous thing to do, to just look somebody in the eye and just play with their life in the game? I'm okay with it. I'll let it slide.
Yeah, and I think that that would be a great thing for her to be doing in the confessionals if she is considering it. But if she wasn't really planning on
No.
going through with it, like, don't show your cards. Don't show that you're willing to be like shady and put your own like apparent ally on the block, put them at
She's a
risk
villain. Yeah.
just to advance your own agenda. So it was I felt good to see that Omarosa is also a little messy.
A little bit,
Because
yeah.
everything is just so calculated and like
Mhm.
stern and firm with her and like stone face. But I love when I see like her just get a little sloppy. It
Mhm.
humanizes her a little bit for me.
Yeah, and I mean,
um
we'll see other things humanize Omarosa as well. When she is when people come at her sideways, you really kind of see Omarosa, oh, okay, what now how do I react to that? And a lot of times she does it in like her regal Omarosa way, like, oh, like
yes.
you're beneath me. But this time, we saw a little bit of Tanisha kind of going
Oh
at
my
it. And I'm
goodness.
excited for this because that's another person who's been presenting themselves as very polished. I think
Yes.
Tanisha is very polished in comparison to her stint on the Bad Girls Club. I think that she is like she's come such a long way. She's first of all, she's so pretty. I just remember when she gets put up on the block, I was thinking, damn,
No, she looked good.
yeah,
And the
but
coat too, like, she looked
yeah,
really good.
chinchilla, Jenny, not rabbit, chinchilla,
It's chinchilla mama.
It's chinchilla mama. And I'm like Tanisha up there looking like a baddie, but also she's on Bad Girls Club for a reason.
Right.
She let that guard down and she was just like, oh, okay, I got you, Omarosa, with the melted pants and the 24.99 shoes. I was like, whoa, there we go.
And she was
So
ready, you know what I mean? Like,
ready.
she it's not even like she had to come up with any of this stuff. This
No.
was inherent. This was a part of her that was ready to go, and as soon as you engage that piece of her, it's on, and I freaking love that because it seems so authentic. It's like it's good television, but it's not someone acting in a way that they think people wanna see. It's like, this is who I am when you F with me. And
Yeah.
I loved this. The interaction between these two was chef's kiss. And
Yes.
Omarosa's giving it back a little bit,
She
but
is.
like, I think we're on the same page here that like Tanisha won like at least this battle. Maybe not the
Yeah.
war. We will not it's still too early to see what happens between the two of these in terms of the larger scope of the game. But like, this interaction, I felt like Tanisha came out looking like the winner.
Oh, of course, yeah. Omarosa did some snake behavior here by putting Tanisha up on the block after ensuring her that she'd be fine. So she
Yeah.
was not prepared for what Tanisha was going to give back. I also don't think Omarosa was that familiar with Tanisha. Like I think she kind of
Right.
knew her. Like, oh, you were on Bad Girls Club, but Tanisha, like I said, she really presents like, oh, like she went to charm school, and she won that competition, like Safari.
And she's
And
been everyone's friend. Like, that's the thing,
yes,
is she's been laying low.
yes. But Omarosa says, I don't like floaters. And you're a floater. And I was like, ooh, not the big brother terminology
I
coming out. Let's
know.
do it. And Tanisha is like, I am nobody's floater. I'm about to let you have it. And so, yeah, in this small battle, I think that Tanisha wins. But I also think that this is right up Omarosa's alley. She is an antagonizer. Like she
Mhm.
is a fully formed villain, right? So she is not just a combative person, but she also is good on the defense as well. And
Yeah.
so, in a world where I can antagonize you and make you mad and throw you off your game, like New York can do, Omarosa has that too. And so I think that was
Yeah.
Omarosa doing this here. So Tanisha is like fighting back, but I think Omarosa accomplished her goal, which was to throw her off balance and to put her on the block. Because now, in a world where it looked like Shake was the obvious choice, now that Omarosa is openly beefing with Tanisha, it might behoove her to save Shake and put Tanisha out of the game and try to get Shake as an ally.
And this is where I think the next episode will be really fun, hopefully in seeing how this redemption challenge or whatever it is. I someday I will learn what the hell this
I,
challenge is
I,
called.
I gave up.
It doesn't matter, but because the narrative of all of these so far is that fair play has a hand in sabotaging someone and ensuring that the person he doesn't want to win and save themselves doesn't win. And so, you know, is he still going to be like riding with Omarosa, realizing, okay, maybe she's floated that as an idea. I might be a little bit more expendable to her than I thought, but she didn't put me at risk. And if she wants ultimately Tanisha to go here, could we see fair play trying to influence the next challenge if he has the ability to do so, to have someone like Shake win, and because I think that if Tanisha and Shake are the final two people on the hit list, I think that enough people have Tanisha's back. Whereas, like we've been saying, like no one is putting their neck out for Shake at this point,
Yeah.
unless Bananas uses his political powers and decides that Shake still being around is still a better like shield for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't see him choosing Shake over Tanisha, because Tanisha is incredibly loyal to Bananas. So I feel like she doesn't have the votes. Sorry, she has the votes over Shake. So if Omarosa does truly want to, she's taking the shot and wants to make sure it doesn't miss. She needs to make sure that Shake is not on the hit list by the time they're doing the banishment, right?
I even think that if you have Shake versus Tanisha in the final two, I really think that you have a war at that point, right? Because you
Right.
have Omarosa, who is incentivized to probably keep Shake at that point, because
Mhm.
I see this thing with Tanisha blowing up big time. And
Yeah.
so Omarosa's trying to keep Shake. That means Amphisa's trying to keep Shake, probably. So that's
Right.
two people who are probably going to keep Shake. You have Tanisha, who has Bananas,
But I think
and
Bobby is gonna keep Tanisha for sure, right?
well, I don't know, because
I
remember
don't
last
know.
episode he was
But
like,
Bobby doesn't like
Tanisha,
Shake.
yeah, but he doesn't like Bananas, and he doesn't like
Yeah,
that Tanisha was playing the
that's
middle. He
true.
called her out last episode, and so if it's Tanisha and Bananas' army versus Omarosa's army, yeah, I think it's going to
Mhm.
get kind of contentious. I think you might have maybe like Bobby and Anfisa and
Well,
Omarosa.
Omarosa will have fair play. So, I think
Does she have fair
ultimately
play after this lack of move on him that she just
I
you
really
might have
don't
telegraphed?
I guess I just don't know that what fair play like, who is fair play close with outside of Omarosa? Like,
Omarosa.
does he want does he have a relationship with Tanisha? Does he feel like having Shake around is helpful to him because he's always going to, you
Be
know,
a bigger target.
yeah, like, is he looking at this the same way as Bananas? It's really, really hard to say because we're not getting a lot of, what his, like, strategy is beyond the fact that, like, he's got, like, a thing with Omarosa. So I do
Yeah.
think that his position in the game, especially now that he's had, like, a scare, will be very, very
Mhm.
interesting. But, this might be for nothing because there's a very good chance that like, oh my god, what's gonna happen if it's Tanisha versus Corinne on the block?
Yeah. Then
Like, what if
again,
Shake does the thing and he gets himself off? Oh my god, that was
if it's
so
Tanisha versus Corinne, I think we're gonna have to say goodbye to maybe Corinne this time. You know, I just don't like you said, Tanisha has
yeah.
some good allies, but Johnny Bananas at that point is gonna have to decide who's better for his game. You know, do
Mhm.
I want to save Corinne or do I want to save Tanisha? Honestly, I think Tanisha might be better for your game.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Because especially because if he's worried about Omarosa finally taking the shot at him, if she's
mhm,
also got like now cultivated beef with Tanisha, like keeping Tanisha around as like a soldier for her is a lot better for him than Corinne, who is still kind of like playing back a little bit. Like she's still
yeah,
playing a little bit passively. And so I actually do agree that I think that Tanisha is better for Banana's game than Corinne, and also letting Corinne go kind of takes some heat off of him because everyone's
because
been
he's a
saying like
pair.
the fact that they have like a romantic connection, whether it's been, you know, there I don't think that
Consummated.
Corinne has gotten what she wanted yet, but
Yeah.
in the very least, like people are saying they have like this flirtation showmance kind of thing, like that's stronger than a regular alliance. That's a big
Mhm.
target. At a certain point, I have to think Bananas like does the math and says like, you know, keeping Tanisha is better for him than Corinne. But I do think
Yeah.
that like this is gonna be a really fun banishment because there's like a lot of different ways that this could go. I have no idea what this next challenge is going to look like. I do know that we're going to see Spencer Pratt next week, which I'm excited about. I don't know how you feel about it. I feel like I haven't seen this guy on TV in 10 years, at least, right? Maybe
Yeah, I mean,
longer.
I probably more recently on my podcast feed, if anything, you know, it's like,
Right. Yeah. That's
yeah,
facts, actually. Yeah.
friend of the network, Spencer
Yeah.
Pratt?
Can we
Oh,
say, yeah, former RHAP podcaster?
yeah,
Spencer Pratt?
alumni. Yeah, he's coming back, man.
Oh,
I think we
man.
just had to keep our commentary light on that one. We don't really know where
I
he
don't know how to feel
stands.
about it.
I don't know what to do either, but I know that and on the list of villains from reality TV, I think Spencer has made a name for himself, and so I'm very excited
Sure.
to see what he's going to bring to the table
Yeah.
moving forward. Jenny, we didn't really talk about it. I know we're about to wrap up, but
Yeah.
speaking of the Corinne and Johnny Bananas love affair, what do you think about this B-roll footage of them flirting? There's this music
The
video.
music video, I was taken aback by this. Like, so we got them in the hot tub and fair
Mhm.
or oh, guess. Okay, enough of the Johnnies. But
Bananas.
Bananas, there's certain points where I'm like, okay, we got bananas, we got banana shake. It sounds like freaking ice cream
Ah,
pop up in here. But Bananas is trying to talk strategy with Corinne and like talking about like what Omarosa might do. And like Corinne is just like and then they do the edit of like his voice is going into the distance. She's going off into dreamland where she's so H word for this guy. And we get this
hold on. What's the H word?
Chappell, don't do this to me
I'm sorry, I
again.
just got
Do
confused.
you want me to
So
spell
H word.
it? Would you rather me
H.
spell it?
Yeah, is this the purple eggplant all again? Like, are we doing this again? Like
Do
you
not
meant the
accuse
H
me of
word is hot.
something I didn't do. Yeah,
The
it's unbothered, right?
unbothered. Unbothered.
Unbothered.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so then it like again, I love the silly editing they're doing on this show, but it's like sometimes it throws me off completely because we went into like a full 30-second like
Music
fake
video.
music video montage of a fictional like hair rock, like 80s like power ballad type thing
Yes.
where like, what was the name of that? Like they
Oh,
gave
I
a
did not write it down. I
it
saw
was
it and was like, this is absurd, and went on with my life.
it was absurd, but like you have, you know, Bananas pouring champagne over his abs and like Corinne standing like watching him. And then they did it perfectly where they did the dream sequence where it's like Corinne and like it's still part of the dream and you could hear Banana's voice and then all of a sudden it like snaps back to the hot tub and he's like,
Mhm.
"Hello, like are you paying attention to me?"
No,
Like
she's hot,
this
hot for
girl is
bananas.
incredible. What is she
Yep.
doing?
Yeah, hot for bananas. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny. I didn't want to let us end without talking about that because I just think that like the production on this is so funny.
They're having so much fun. Even the other thing earlier in the episode where um Shake lies about Corinne saying that she voted for Anfisa because she was worried that Bananas would choose her over, and then they had like footage not found because it never happened. Like
Because it
they're
never
doing so
happened.
much fun. We get Joel McHale acknowledging Bruce, the camera guy, during the ceremony, like the hit list ceremony. Like there's so many little fun tidbits during this show. Um it's incredible. It's so good.
So
I'm
so
never
good.
bored, not even for a second. There's no reason to like look at your phone or do anything
Nope.
else while you're watching it. So, yeah.
Literally time of my life. Jenny, this is
Yeah.
great.
I've had such a good time. I feel like we are going to get a great next episode because we have engaged Tanisha. Like she is
Mhm.
ready. So I can't wait to see what happens next week. And I'm really liking the pace of the show. I like that they're doing like average of 2 episodes per elimination here.
Mhm.
I think that that's a great way of doing it, and we're getting enough time to like flesh out the storylines here. And listen, if you got a cast of people that you already know can bring it, like leave their leave enough room for us to see what they can do on
Let them
TV.
cook.
Let them cook. Exactly. Anyway, I've had a great time. We will be back next week, hopefully with a guest.
Hopefully.
Um, hopefully with a guest, and because we got lots of friends who have things to say about this incredible show. But in the meantime, Chappelle, what else do you have going on?
Yes, here on Rob Has a Podcast, I am still talking about Below Deck with Sasha every week. Below Deck Mediterranean, it's about halfway through the season, and Sasha and I are breaking it all down on the Bravo RHAP Ups feed, wherever you get your podcast. I'm also talking about Netflix shows with Rob on Nothing But Netflix. This week, we're talking about Sly, the Sylvester Stallone documentary. Over on Post Show Recaps, I'm still talking about Fear the Walking Dead as it's about to come to an end. We have one more podcast. One and a half more podcasts to drop soon to talk about Fear the Walking Dead before we go talk about the next iteration of the Walking Dead franchise over on Post Show Recaps. We're also doing Suits every day on Post Show Recaps. Me and Rob are suitspodcast.com. You can go in and subscribe to keep up with our daily Suits coverage of the hit Netflix show Suits from USA. If you heard about it, if you watched it before, jump in, listen to the podcast, or start at the beginning. Go at your own pace. It's timeless. Check that out, suitspodcast.com. And then finally, I think that is there anything I missed? I feel like I missed something. Um, no, let's just say no. Let's just say that's all. But follow me on Twitter at Chappelle's_show. And when I come up with other stuff that I'm talking about, I will definitely let you all know.
And also just a quality follow. I can't understand how anyone could not be following you already. So get on that. um
Thanks.
but yeah, for me, not too much besides this little thing. I will be catching back up with Kirsten McInnes to get caught up on FBoy Island season 3 over on the Hot Dummies on Island feed. And I believe, listen, Big Brother 25, thank God, has ended. But I will say the sloppiness never ends. And
Flop.
I will say there's always a chance slop will occur, and when it occurs, I want to know about it and I want to have a little bit of a taste of it. So keep an eye on my Twitter at Jenny Autumn. I'll let you know if anything else coming down the pipes. And in the meantime, have a great week, and we will be back next week with episode 6 recap of House of Villains. Make sure to subscribe. robhasawebsite.com/hit or quit feed. And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye.